Hello, it's Karla from Cherrywood Hand Dyed Fabrics. Welcome to Cherrywood Live, episode 100. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's been a little while since I've been live with you guys. So I hope you are viewing us on mainstreet.live or the Cherrywood Facebook page, or our brand new platform is the Quilter Shopping Network. So we're pretty excited about that. This is our first show on Quilter Shopping Network, but you should really check it out because it's some really good programming with a lot of other vendors that are coming to you live, showing you what they've got to sell. So let's get shopping tonight, shall we? Our theme tonight is grab bags, and I'm going to be talking a lot about our grab bags, what they are, and in case you're just joining us for the first time, I'll tell you a little bit about Cherrywood. It is hand-dyed fabric, and we dye it here in Brainerd, Minnesota. And our claim to fame is these beautiful bundles, gradation. Everything we do is solid color, but it's not just solid. It has a tone-on-tone texture that actually makes it look like suede. And in the process, we have a special technique that we have perfected over the years, over 30 years. And there is, like I said, a modeled tone-on-tone texture. There's no right or wrong side because of the hand dyeing process. And it's just beautifully soft and supple. A lot of people think this is leather or wool or suede, but this is 100% cotton. And we start out with an unbleached muslin. So that is, in the combination of our special technique, is what is our trademark suede look. So it's been washed many times in the process of dyeing and afterwards. We wash everything twice in hot water so that we can get out as much excess dye as possible before it goes to the customer. And we bundle our fabrics in packets like this. Call this a bundle. This is a 12-step bundle because there are 12 colors in the package sold together. Now these are fat quarter pieces, but you can always, there's 3 different sizes of bundles for all of our bundles: fat quarter, half yard, or full yard. And then we have 8-step gradations. Grab one here. This is our Blue Lagoon. And this one is going from a mint green to a blue, so you get some nice aquas in there. And again, these are fat quarters, all folded up. This is our trademark look. This is how you will receive your fabric. It's pre-washed, pre-shrunk, pre-cut, pre-packaged, and just pretty. So as you can see, some of our gradations of color are very soft and subtle. We've got brighter colors, darker colors. Try to get a good mix of colors for everything. And then we also have 4-step gradations, which are usually a dark color and then 4 steps to get to the light color. So these are usually just a tint or a shade of one color, whereas our 8 steps back here are hue gradations that go from, say, a lime green to a magenta in 8 different steps. So if you're just joining us, welcome. Glad to see you here tonight. My name is Karla, and I'm going to be talking to you today about hand-dyed fabric and grab bags. So everything that I'm talking about here and showing you tonight is on our website, which is cherrywoodfabrics.com. And some of the items tonight, the grab bags are always on our website, but we have a special deal tonight. And there's a couple of things that will only be on our live shows. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how to work around our website. I do recommend, since if you can, if you're on a laptop or a computer, You could do a split screen so that you could see the Facebook live on one side of the screen, and you could have the cherrywoodfabrics.com open, or the screens right behind each other. Just in case you want to grab something that goes fast, you want to be able to get to our website as fast as possible. So I'm going to share a screen and just quickly show you how to find the items on our website. So here is our home page. Anytime you need to get back to the home page, just click on this large graphic, and the navigation up above is the main navigation where you do your shopping. You can learn our story and our history. The challenges tab at the top here will direct you to all of the challenges and information about past and present contests. The calendar will show you where we are vending at quilt shows once they are back up and running, and any other presentations or classes, you can check it out there. And another good way to keep on top of things is just sign up for our newsletter, because we announce a lot of things to the newsletter people first, like what the challenge is going to be. And then make sure you read the information under washing, and that is just going to help keep your cherrywood looking wonderful. And then our contact information and shopping cart. Now the navigation down here is where you're going to be doing most of your shopping. You can either look at all of the items all at once, but they're going to be in random order, or you can shop by the size of the bundle, the number of colors that are sold as a collection, either the 12-step, 8-step, or 4-step. And each of these bundles, when you click on it, you can select what size bundle you would like: fat quarter, half yard, or full yard. This is our yardage page. We have 40 colors that are designed to complement our gradation bundles, and just beautiful colors that are popular. Click here to see all of my exclusive patterns that I designed just for Cherrywood, and also other pattern designers that we carry the patterns and kits. If you see the word kit, that means that the pattern is included, but you can also order the pattern alone in either a printed physical pattern or a PDF digital download. And this is where you're going to go to buy your Cherrywood Diana Challenge bundles and rulers so that you can enter the contest. Also, any past bundles and books and posters and all that good stuff relating to our challenges. But this is the tab here that we're going to be talking about, and where you want to go after the sale, or if you want to look at it during the sale. These are the products that I will be talking about that have very limited quantities, if not one-of-a-kind pieces. The pricing, any specials are going to happen on this tab. So, our deal for tonight is our grab bags. Now, our grab bags are like candy. A lot of people at quilt shows can't wait to pick up a grab bag or 2 or 3 or 4 because they're done in small batches. So every time you see us or purchase a grab bag, it's going to be from a different batch. Now, this is what the grab bags look like. And they come in 4 colors. Oops, there you go. So, little bag of scraps, basically. Now, what this is fabric that has a flaw in it. And that may mean that there might be spots of dye on it. It may mean that there is maybe a snag in the fabric, or possibly even a little hole. But basically all the pieces are about this size, or sometimes the color doesn't turn out when I'm experimenting with a new color, or the dye changes too much and say it's supposed to be chocolate brown, but it's looking really funky and it doesn't really fit in anywhere, we will put it in the grab bags. All of the grab bag pieces, are about 7 by 10. So this is a, this is a ruler to show you here. Basically, they're all about 7 by 10, and you get 24 colors in a grab bag, and normally it's $18. Now tonight, for our live special, we're gonna do a you pick, we pick. You pick your color, and we will pick one at half price. So instead of 2 grab bags for regular price is $36, tonight you're gonna get them for $26, 10 bucks off. So when you go to our website, again, go to the live tab, and that's where you'll see you pick, we pick. And there are 4 different choices for our grab bags. First of all, what is a grab bag? Well, a grab bag looks like this. Comes in a plastic bag. And you can see some of the colors that we flip over, you can see from the top. And what this is, I have to stand up to do this, is about a yard of fabric, and it may have flaws on it, or the color may not be exactly what I wanted it to be. So it gets set aside and put into grab bags. Now all the pieces, as you can see, are about 7 inches by 10 inches. And they're, I've picked out the warm grab bag, and I just want to lay this all out because it is so fun to open these up and check the colors that you get and sort through them. I know a lot of people would pick these up at quilt shows and go back to their hotel and sort through them and come back the next day and maybe pick up a color that will tie them together, or it just inspired them to start a project. And again, all of these are warm colors. This is a beautiful bronze. In fact, I think you can see, yeah, so this bronze piece, that tone on tone texture there, that's what we call the suede look. And sometimes it gets a little crazy like that. I mean, that's not too crazy, but it's a little more mottled than, say, the red one next to it appears to be fairly flat. Now in real life, I wish you could feel this, because in real life, just there's a brushed kind of feel to it. We wash the fabric so many times that that's part of our trademark process to give it this beautiful feel to it. So anyway, some of the pieces may be a little more blotchy than others. In fact, here's 2 bronze pieces. This one has a lot of modeling on it. We call it modeling because it's a, you know, tone on tone model. And this is more of a flat piece. Now, another cool thing about Cherrywood is there is no right or wrong side. So if you didn't really want it to be quite that crazy, flip it over and check the other side, because that modeled effect is going to be different on both sides. So sometimes you'll get a piece like this. Looks a little weird, and that is because that is the torn edge. When we start out dyeing the fabric, we start with muslin on a huge roll, and we rip it so that we get it straight on grain. And then after the dyeing process, the fabric is run through a mangle, and it has to be fed into this mangle, which is it's a rotary iron that is pulling the fabric in, and it's drying it and pressing it at the same time. And if that edge doesn't get fed into the mangle quite perfectly, it may get a little crooked. Don't worry about it. You can press a lot of these wrinkles out. So again, these are grab bags, and they are flawed fabric. Either the color is wrong, or there's we're pretty picky about our fabric. If there's any kind of red spot on it, we call that a measle, because it kind of looks like measles. So it goes into the grab bag pile. Now I have a little video that shows you how we put these grab bags together. It may look like just a bunch of scraps, but there's quite a process. We've been making grab bags like this for over 30 years. So we're going to roll that little video and I can tell you what you're seeing. So this is the mangle that I was talking about. This is a rotary iron that is pulling the fabric in, drying it, pressing it. And Lorene and I have 4 women who do this process, and they're looking for the flaws. They see every piece of fabric, every side of every single piece of fabric goes past their eyes, and these are the piles of the fabric that did not, pass the test. And here, Lorene has already picked out 8 colors. We happen to have a conference table that fits 8 fat quarters perfectly. So what you haven't seen is she's picked out the 24 colors that are going to go into the grab bag. She's cut them all down into fat quarters, so there's a lot of cutting. And then she's collating. Basically, she walks around the table, picks up 1 fat quarter, adds it to the next. And this is the only way to get many colors, a single layer at a time. She's pretty fast, isn't she? Sometimes things don't get cut, so she has to stop and cut the half yard down to a fat quarter. And then here we are chopping it up, and I pitched in to help. And we don't measure when we're cutting up the fat quarters, and this is how we get the approximate 7 by 10 inch piles of fabric. And then we go through that process 3 times, so we get these piles of 8 pieces of fabric. Then we put those 3 together, and now we've got our 24 for the grab bag. And now Lorene is just pulling back a few of the colors just so you can get to see a variety of what's in the package. And also so that we don't get bored. We don't want them to look all the same. Stuff it in the bag. And it's ready. So again, these are our grab bags that are flawed fabric or odd colors or just didn't have a home. And we give them a home. And they want to go home with you. Because look at how much fabric you get in a grab bag. Look at all these beautiful colors. And there's a few, like I haven't even spread them all out yet. I've got darks, lights. This is our warm grab bag. So every grab bag is going to be different. This is approximately what a grab bag warm is going to look like. And then we also have cool grab bags. And this kind of gives you an idea. I'll make sure you see all these colors. Again, it's so fun to open up a grab bag and see what you get. Anything on the cool side of the color wheel. So you've got greens and blues and purples. Blue is kind of a tricky color right now. We are actually in a worldwide shortage of blue dye. So if you really, really like blue quilts, now might be the time to get your blue fabric, because I'm sure we will get it again, but we're getting kind of low on blues. Now here's an example of another piece that you might find in a grab bag. This is where the fabric, the muslin, had been spliced together. So 2 pieces spliced together. But I think that's kind of cool. You could maybe work that into an art quilt or work it into a design, or really that's not very much that you're going to waste. So this would be an example of the colors you might get in a cool grab bag. And just think, if you get a cool and a warm together, look how, well, it's a little bit hard to see. Sometimes like pink might be in the cool grab bag, or it might be in the warm grab bag. It's one of those colors that can kind of go either way. But grab bags are wonderful for getting lots of different colors that maybe you wouldn't purchase normally. Like maybe you're not an orange person, but you've got this quilt that really kind of needs a punch. And if you throw in orange or one warm color with all these cool colors, you're really going to get it really packs a punch, because it's on the opposite side of the color wheel, and using a small amount of a fabric that, let me move that, small amount of your accent color will really make things pop. So 24 colors in a grab bag. Our special for tonight is you get 2 grab bags for $26. That's $10 off. And go to the live tab on cherrywoodfabrics.com, and it will be one of the first things that is for sale there. We have a very limited supply of grab bags. When COVID hit, we donated hundreds and hundreds of yards of fabric to our local sewers who were making face masks. And most of that fabric came from our grab bag piles. So, you know, we were just so honored that we could help in that way. But it really did kind of take a toll on our grab bag stash. Now I'm going to clear this off. Zoop. Look at all that wonderful fabric. All in a grab bag. Ready to make a fun project. So, random grab bag. And then our neutral grab bag would be browns, grays, rusts, buttercream, tans, that kind of thing. And I have a quilt I'm going to show you in a little bit that's all neutrals that is just gorgeous. So, what do you do with grab bags, you may ask? I've got some ideas that will spark your imagination. Of course, these are small pieces, so sweet little projects like postcards. You can make fabric postcards. A yard of fabric in a grab bag will go a long way. If you're doing little piecing like this little log cabin, you may want just lots of colors, small pieces. So a grab bag is perfect for that. It is also perfect if you have never used Cherrywood before, because it's a reduced price. Usually our fabric is $20 a yard, and so you're getting small bits of color that you can play with. There's a little less pressure when you buy a grab bag cutting it up. It doesn't, I know some people are afraid to cut their Cherrywood. I'm not sure why, but I think I know why, because it's so beautiful. So maybe you need to cut up your grab bags first. Maybe that will get you over your intimidation. So this is a sweet little quilt called Dresden Neighborhood, and it is a perfect project for a grab bag. Lots of little pieces, lots of color, and you want that scrappy look for this fun little town. This is called Dresden Neighborhood, and it was designed by Persimmon Dreams of Wisconsin. And this has been a very popular pattern. We oftentimes sell out of this pattern at quilt shows. And behind me, I have a different version in darker colors. This kit is on our website, and those colors that you see there will be the exact colors. Whereas this is a sample of what you can do with a grab bag. And here is the pattern. The pattern is $8. And it's Dresden Neighborhood by Persimmon Dreams. And we put in an insert in front because our picture looks so much different than cherrywood when you do something in solid. So that will be included in the pattern. But Dresden neighborhood, $8. And then one grab bag would be enough for all the houses, and a yard of fabric would be enough for your background and backing and binding. So this is a quick project. You can either sew the Dresden wedges together like a traditional Dresden plate, or you can be like me and just fuse them to the background. I just butted all the houses up together, cut my houses randomly, cut the windows crooked and a little wonky, and just have fun with it. This translates well to seasonal. You could do Halloween spooky houses. You could definitely do Christmas houses and maybe the North Pole. You could customize this with your town. Maybe you have a certain building that's special to you, or maybe you live in Paris and you want to have the Eiffel Tower on there. So again, a perfect little project for a grab bag. And you can make 4 of these and make a much larger wall hanging. And again, our special tonight is 2 grab bags. You pick one, we pick one. If you pick a cool color grab bag, we might throw in a warm color, but we're gonna pick, so it'll be kind of surprise. And if you buy all 4 of them, all 4 different colors, you'll probably get 4 different batches. There might be some repeats, but all you have to do is go to our website, order 1 grab bag, and for every one that you order, we're gonna pick another one for half price. So there's nothing more that you have to do. Just click on the grab bag, quantity, and it'll magically double. Oh, here's another. I love this pattern so much, I made a second Dresden. So this one you can see the coloring a little better. And this one I kind of experimented with circles, circle windows and rounded roofs. Now another quick and sweet little wall hanging. This one is called Bella. And the kit comes in pre-cut 5-inch squares, and then the black hair and all the shapes. There's a full-size drawing that you transfer onto fusible web, iron that onto your black, and then cut out the shapes and simply iron it onto the background. I'm showing this tonight because in the kit, the colors, this beautiful yellow to purple, is all figured out for you. And those are the kits that are available on our website. However, if you want a little more scrappy or just try something a little different, the pieces in the grab bag are large enough to do this. There's 25 squares in here, and they're 5-inch squares. So again, that is Bella, and this was designed by Lori Cisse. And the pattern is 1050, and the kit is 4450. And you could customize this one as well. I know of a woman who had 3 daughters, and she was going to change the hair a little bit to match the daughters' personalities. Then we have a Australian trio. We have Mr. Koala here. We have Mr. Kangaroo here. Isn't he awesome? And these are stretched on a frame. They are quilted, but then they're stretched around just a cheap wooden frame. And the quilting gives it just enough dimension, but it finishes quickly because I didn't have to worry about backing or binding. And this is Mr. Emu. And these designs, I call them the Aussie girls because we picked 3 of our favorites. On a trip to Australia, of course, I found these patterns. And the pattern is called well, each one has its own pattern. So this is Echo Emu, and I forget the names of these two, kangaroo and koala. Each pattern is $10, and that is on our website under the live tab as well tonight. And it's designed by Pattern Pool from Australia. And we actually have been working with them. This quilt to my side here, it's a little dark, but Twilight Dreaming, that was a block of the week that we participated in, and a lot of fun. And they're running that program on their website, or actually on Facebook, and they're running it again right now. But these fun little creatures here lend themselves wonderfully to grab bags. Now, I did not use a grab bag on these samples. I made this out of Madagascar 8-step gradation. So the colors are controlled. You know, they're all coming from the same 8 colors. And then you'll notice that they have kind of a tattoo. I thought it would be fun, since I knew I wasn't going to quilt these very much. I decided to get out my permanent black fine tip marker and to start doodling and make it kind of look like a tattoo. So it adds some more texture, makes it a little more finished, and was super fast. So again, I'll show you the back. You can see the batting, and I put batting in behind the top, did some real basic quilting, and then stretched around to the back and just stapled it onto the frame. I really like this quick way of getting things done and ready to hang on the wall or as a gift. So again, these are our Aussie critters, and the 3 patterns are sold separately for $10 each. Well, here is just it's an unfinished piece, but it shows the beautiful look of putting all sorts of colors of cherrywood together. That suede texture is more prominent on some colors. It usually shows up more on dark colors, and obviously not as much on light colors because there's not a lot of dye in, say, a yellow and these light greens. But the browns and the blues and the purples just have a rich, wonderful mottled tone-on-tone look, plus that soft broken in feel. It kind of ties all of Cherrywood colors together. So these are just random colors that I think would make a stunning table runner, and all come from a grab bag. So if you bought a cool, a warm, a neutral, and a random grab bag, you would have plenty to do this. This book is kind of what inspired this. It's by Modern Quilt Studio, Weeks Ringel and Bill Kerr, and a lot of their projects lend themselves perfectly for Cherrywood, and this is one of them, called Small Change, and it is actually made from Cherrywood, the one in the book, and I believe Weeks made this one in simple quilting, and that's all you need to make a stunning statement. Really, the materials that you use are very important, and if you are working with a less expensive stretchy fabric, the experience is going to be a lot different than if you're working with Cherrywood. Cherrywood is $20 a yard because we hand dye it here. We start from white fabric and we get all these colors by hand. And we're a very small business. There are only 7 of us. I have 3 people who help in the studio and 3 people who work from home, and they are doing all the finishing work for us. Now here is a sample. This is a personal piece of mine, and yes, it's supposed to be wonky. This is just improvisational piecing, and again, you just can't go wrong with Cherrywood. Grab bags have 24 colors in them, so you are able to pick colors that go nicely together, especially that now that we're curating the grab bags, and you know, warm colors and cool colors. And again, this was just improvisational piecing. I'll come up close because there's some hand stitching with pearl cotton, French knots, covered buttons, and that's, I stitched on Cherrywood first, and then I made the covered button, and just big chunky running stitches. And Cherrywood has such a soft hand to it that this kind of stitching is pleasant. When you iron, well, when you're working with Cherrywood, if you haven't touched it before, once you feel it, you're going to understand what the big deal is. But pressing Cherrywood is so nice. When you press it with a dry iron, sometimes I missed it, but I always use a dry iron. And when you press that seam, it stays. It doesn't pop back up. It creases nicely. Things just iron nice and flat, and beautiful canvas for your artwork. Now, speaking of canvases, I wanted a wonky frame, so my husband John figured out how to make a wonky frame, and then the same thing I just did. You won't be able to see it because there is canvas here. Did my stitching just through one layer of batting and then stretched it around the frame and stapled it. And I hang it kind of wonky. And I have one last quilt I wanted to show you. This is kind of an older, there was never a pattern for this, but this is a good example of how gorgeous just neutrals can be out of Cherrywood. Simple diamonds, but the low contrast is just gorgeous because even on the computer screen, I'm sure you can tell there's a depth and a richness to the fabric that is just really special. It doesn't just lay flat. Even though it's solid colors, it has some movement in it, and you can take the most simple design, and if you make it from Cherrywood, it's going to take it to another level. So this would be good for a couple of our neutral grab bags. And again, if you're just joining us, our featured special for tonight is You Pick, We Pick grab bags. So you can order whichever colorway that you want. We've got 4 different colors, and you will automatically get a second grab bag, but we get to pick which grab bag you get. So we'll try to give you some variety, so this can go into your stash. And speaking of stashes, when you are doing any kind of putting a project together in the starting stage, or doing something improvisational where you don't really have a plan, you haven't shopped specifically for fabrics, it didn't come in a kit, wouldn't it be awesome if you had tons of colors at your fingertips in your stash? And maybe there's a pink in there that you never would have bought on its own, but you want just a little pink right here. So that is a wonderful way, wonderful reason to buy grab bags. It just really builds your stash quickly. Now I have one more item that is special tonight, and it's a very limited quantity, doing a little bit of housekeeping, and we are calling this a, I forget what we call it. I think we're calling it Scrappy Stash or something. Anyway, $50. And very limited. I believe we only have 7 of these, and for $50 you get all this. You get an 8-step fat quarter bundle of these beautiful greens, blues, and pinks, kind of like wildflowers. You get this wonderful book, The Walking Foot Quilting Designs. This is by Melissa Marjonette. And it's a great spiral bound book, lays nice and flat, and it's very simplified. There's not a lot of copy in there. There's a lot of graphic designs and steps on what to do first, and just full of wonderful ideas. So that book in itself is worth $20. Then you are going to get some chunks of fabric that are already pre-fused, already has the fusing on the back. This was left over from a project that we had all this fused fabric, and you can play around. This would be great for kids. They can just draw a picture on the paper and cut it out, and they can help you design a quilt. So you get this whole big stack of pre-fused fabric, and you get some scraps that could be grab bag size, some squares, just a surprise scrap basket. The basket is not included, but it is made out of cherrywood. So there's only a few of these, like I said. For $50, you get all this. And then you might as well pick up a couple grab bags too while you're at it. But this, I'm sure, will be gone by the end of the night, since we have such a limited supply. This is a framed piece that is applique. I actually got this at an auction at Sister's Outdoor Quilt Show. And I'm going to walk up to the camera because I want you to see the detail. So that is hand applique, and Cherrywood just begs to be applique. Hand appliqueurs just love it because it is so soft. It needle turns beautifully. Your stitches just sink into it. It's several layers of applique there, and you won't experience fatigue when you're trying to stitch because it just melts. Now, speaking of Sisters Outdoor Quilt Festival, oh, I should say this was made by Tiffany Hayes, who is a quilter that I've gotten to know over the years, and she's entered a lot of our Cherrywood challenges. Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show was supposed to be the second week of July. Obviously, they had to cancel it, and they went virtual this year. And we have been kind of working with Sisters for several years now, a couple years, and we were invited to show the Cherrywood Challenge at this quilt show. And it literally is outside. Like, the whole little town, it's only 2,000 people, they hang quilts on the outsides of the buildings. People walk around, it's free. And the Cherrywood Challenge was put indoors. The fire hall, they cleared it all out, and the display was put there. And it has been really cool. I got to go to Sisters with my sisters a few years back when we first had our display there. And Lion King was the first challenge. And it's been a lot of fun. I sat down with Jeff, who was the instigator of the connection of the Cherrywood Challenge to Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. And we talked about the history that we've had over the years, and he's quite a character. He's just hilarious. He really gets into what he's doing, which this video will show you.
I saw during the tour of The Lion King, I saw one of the lions on an AQS promotional thing at the first show. I think it was Grand Rapids, I think.
Grand Rapids, yep.
And they did a news snippet, and they pulled just one of the panels, and one of the panels had a lion on it that was the thread painted lion. It was one of the first three, I think. And I was so in awe of that quilt alone, I had to find it. So I tracked down the show, and then I tracked you guys down, and then we talked, and you said, well, we're not busy in July. Would you like to do it? And I said, sure. And we kind of talked about them, real or imagined. We decided they'd be indoor cats, and that was new for an outdoor quilt show. But it was
figured it out.
everything. Yeah, big litter box. That was it.
Yeah, that's right. We needed the kitties indoors.
Yeah, and it just kind of clicked. It was just the right thing, the right timing. It was a project that was a passion for me, because I'm the one, as a relatively new to quilting, I'm looking for the things that aren't grandma's quilts. And these are definitely not. They're different in the fabric theme that underlies them. They're different in the size and the format. And they're wonderfully pulled together to challenge people to interpret a theme. And those three elements didn't exist in any of the rest of our quilt shop. So it's kind of cool that we could bring that in. You have your gift, your talent, your expertise in the graphic presentation of that stuff. The books are gorgeous, and you just do, it's amazing to me to find something with as limited apparent resources behind the scenes, putting out such a high-end quality thing that looks like it might have come from a much bigger. So that's a compliment.
Thank you. That's a very nice compliment.
Okay. I printed out the UPS tracking log of, oh my God, today it's, and then all the places that will go. Yes.
Yeah, I thought for sure that it would just be blown, but now that we know it worked out, we can share the story. But
to be on the other side of obstacles like customs with only a couple of days to go and things like that,
Yeah.
And I've got one of my favorite pictures, which is me hugging the box of quilts on the day that they came in before I put them up. It was like a little bit of cardiac trouble there, but yeah. We have a few exhibits. We have a sock exhibit that we will film, and in fact, I just saw the preview of that, and it's great. I think it's great because it has one of my quilts in it, but otherwise,
hey, awesome.
Yeah, I actually finished something this year that was really good, and it was there is a substantial cherrywood fabric component in it. There's some wonderful Prince purple in it. I'm just so proud of it. But we're having kind of an uprising of all the people all the merchants and things like that, and saying, well, I've got some quilts, I could put them up on the side of my building. And so we won't have a quilt show for people to come and see, but the merchants will have quilts for the people who happen to, come to town those days. We want people to post their quilt on Quilt Day and then Instagram it. And then we're going to have a virtual show on Instagram of the quilts that would have come to the quilt show hanging in everybody's yard. And where my wife asked me not to dress up this year, so I got the shirt. And
well, see, now you'll get a shot next year because you'll have the actual quilts next year.
Yeah, no, I was just delighted that. I mean, Valerie at the Stitching Post rolled over her entire Quilters Affair week with 28 out of the 30 teachers that were scheduled to teach, agreed to teach the same class the same day 1 year out. And
great.
Something on the order of 80% of the students agreed to roll over, and no refunds or anything else. They got to keep the money. And the remaining slots that couldn't roll over had waiting lists, and they refilled with students. So I think they're booked the whole Quilters Affair for 2021. Yeah, which is, if you can see it.
Oh, look at that. No mistakes, just happy accidents.
There you go.
Perfect.
So.
Uh-oh. Oh.
I'm ready. Put me in, Coach.
Awesome.
Yes. All right. Take care.
Thank you. So, I guess we have come to the end of our evening. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Quilters Shopping Network. And make sure you join me next week. And episode 101 is going to be all about Christmas in July. So that'll be a lot of fun. And please do support your vendors and small quilt shops. Anybody who usually travels around the country to quilt shows and can't right now, this is our form of making a living. So we truly appreciate your support. Have a good evening.